You're listening to Head Voice, bringing you inside the minds of singers and sound creators who are redefining what it means to make music with the voice. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Evan, and this week we're joined again by the lovely Chris Harrison, but this time with 100% more Rachel Bearer. They're both in a band called ARORA, who released their long-awaited EP, The Ones You Keep, back in July. If you want to find out more about the history of the band, you can check out episode 41 for our first episode with Chris, or episode 28 with their beatboxer, Ben McLean.
In this episode, we talked about Rachel and Chris's Sound Math project and what they've been working on the past year, and broke down the writing process and production of one of their new songs, You and Me. These humans are true beacons of light, and we're so excited for you to hear from them on this week's episode of Head Voice.
Sure.
Is that fine?
Whatever you want.
I didn't do any hair or makeup, but if you'll
care.
take me as I am, it's fine. Fine with me.
I don't care.
This is real. This is the real gritty 40% of Aurora lifestyle. We wear pajamas all the time.
Deal with it. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
And with that, welcome to this episode of Head Voice. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris and Rachel. This is our second episode with you. Yes, it's such a joy to talk to you again. We did an episode with Chris last December.
Years ago.
And then
we met both of you at SoJam last November. Got to sit in on your panel, got to watch y'all perform, listen to The Ones You Keep demos a bunch of times in the car ride back, and then...
Not just a bunch, like...
Oh, yeah, the whole car ride back.
Yeah, probably the whole ride.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then...
That's so sweet.
And then we wanted to do what we did last time again. So last time we did an episode on Morning Light, which we'll have a link in the show notes if you want to check that out. But I think You and Me is unanimously, I don't know if you can say that for two people, between the both of us, our favorite song off the record. So we thought it'd be fun to do a little thing.
I had it like the demo.
The unanimous two is unanimously
100% of the hosts prefer.
Yeah, exactly.
I
awesome.
had that demo sitting on my work computer desktop for maybe 8 months, and I would listen to it once a day. It's my favorite. So good. So I'm happy that we're talking about it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Good job, babe. Nice
So it's been a while since we've seen you both, and just kind of we wanted to find out what's up with you guys. What have you guys been working on the past year?
It took us for effing ever to actually wrap up the EP, actually finalize those demos. Some of them didn't change very much. Some of them changed noticeably. One of them didn't exist at all as a demo and then got finished. So that happened between the time we last saw each other and the actual release of the EP. And then besides that, as a band, sadly, we hang out socially every week or two because we all love each other very much, but everybody is very deeply steeped in their own personal individual music life, or in the case of Ben McLean, a law school life. Yeah. He's now in law school. Which scares us all. Yeah, he's insisting on being an actual adult.
I love you, Ben.
Oh,
Is it less scary though than him going into space?
Well,
no.
Just say no.
No. Ben belongs in space. He is. It makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah. And law school, he's been doing great, actually.
He's already doing well.
We found out that he was in the top couple in his class on one of these little assignments.
Okay.
Because he it was pretty cute. Anyway, you can edit that out, whatever.
I never had faith that he was going to space. Not because of him. I think he's worthy of space. But I was just skeptical of the whole sort of reality show operation angle of the thing he was a part of. Nevertheless, deeply grateful he's not in space. sad he's in law school because it's fun to hang out with him, and he's.
We basically had to stop Aurora because Ben was going to speak. So
That's the official stance.
that's the official statement. Just kidding. No, I was just saying it was really fun finishing the EP. I love when we work together, and it's so fun. I want to do another show soon. We perform. Chris and I perform every Saturday at a
Republic of
at
Pie.
a little Republic of Pie. It's super fun, and we kind of been changing up our set recently. We just did last night. We were just like, let's just like improvise, and that's how we just started the show. We were like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen, and so we just like made a bunch of loops and just like vibed out
fun.
for like 10 minutes.
I don't know,
It
8,
was
10
like
minutes, yeah.
awesome.
Is this
It was
is
awesome.
This
We were
the
like,
sound
whoa.
bath duo that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, this show is usually like kind of Everly Brothers and that era of songs mixed with some original songs of ours, the two of us and guitar. And Rachel does a lot of looping within the context of that. But yeah, this sort of improvisation we started with yesterday did feel it felt a lot like when we start sound baths.
Could you talk
So yeah,
about
a little bit of
that,
crossover.
that actually the sound bath thing? Because we just like we'll just send each other the Instagrams whenever they happen. They're like, look, and like, but like we don't really know like, what it is.
Yeah. So the sound baths that we do, they kind of started when I worked at a yoga studio, and the manager at the time asked me one day, she was like, would you want to do a meditation workshop? And I was like, sure. Yeah, I could do that, I guess. Yeah. So, and then I went away, and then I thought about it, and I was like, I came back the next day, and I was like, I was thinking about what you said, and actually, do you think I could do like a sound bath meditation? Because, I mean, I sing and like can kind of do that, and I feel like that's something that I could like bring to the space that would be kind of interesting. And I don't know. And she was like, oh my God, yes, absolutely. And so then I was like, hey, Chris. Hey, Chris, you wanna come help me with this? You
Come
wanna
push buttons.
You wanna come
Yeah.
do this? And he was like, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And we've done quite a few of them, and it's cool just developing it's just cool and being creative in a different space and developing different sounds. And anyway, people come in and they like bring a yoga mat, or like people eventually started bringing like pillows,
Like
and
a
they
little
had like
slumber party.
blankets
Yeah.
and stuff, and they come in and they like get set up and lie down, and I kind of like, and when they walk in, the drone, Chris has like built a drone that's like usually in some freaking like frequency, like it's running at a specific hertz that's like good for this whatever, I don't know. He gets all like sciencey. You feel free to talk about that if you want.
No, I like when you talk about it. It sounds more mysterious and cool.
Yeah, totally. Excuse me. And then we just like, it's sort of like a nap almost, but it's not. You like,
Is it all improvised?
yes,
Okay.
basically. There's some, the music is all improvised.
Yeah, so Rachel is way more comfortable improvising than I am, and where I really feel at home is in the nerd space, in the buttons and sliders and
As
Pro
he
Tools
glances
and-
to the computer.
That's right. Yeah, like, is everything good in Pro Tools? It is. I love you. So what I'll do is prepare. I'll sort of create samples with the sound bath in mind. That are, some of them are a second long, some of them are, 15 seconds long. Just kind of sweeping pad element type things with sine waves or my own voice or a mixture of that. And just sort of prepare them in set to a key or something, and then when we do the sound bath together, I'm using some of those. I'm playing some stuff live, improvising a little bit on like a little analog synth or something. And Rachel is like,
and
all,
the guitar sometimes.
yeah, and the guitar will get integrated as well. And
great.
I feel like you just roll into that scenario and start creating loops on the spot, and it's rad. And I still don't know how to just do that with nothing prepared at all. I don't know how to do that.
Oh,
but-
I get to do that because you prepare.
Oh, well, there you go.
So it's a great
You're
team.
welcome.
Yeah, no, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for you.
Have you found that
Oh my
like
gosh.
type of creation leaking, you know, kind of back and forth with how you like worked on the new Aurora material at all?
Yeah, definitely.
Think
I
so,
mean,
yeah.
everything. It's all like playing in the same, like, water park. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
you're like, at least for me, because, you know, because I guess because I'm so limited actually as a musician. Like, I really can't. I can't really play other instruments. I get too frustrated with like putting in any time and
technical or
effort
whatever,
because I'm
yeah.
like, my brain is moving at 1,000 miles a minute and I can't wait for my fucking hands to catch up
Yeah.
with what I'm wanting to do. So I'm just like, ugh. And I, you know, I don't know. I'm just losing my train of thought. I'm having like 20,000 thoughts right now. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, which one am I? Ah! Like Maze Runner. Anyway.
Well, yeah, as an eavesdropper on your process, like as a person who lives in the same house with you, and so I'll hear you just kind of improvising or writing or something in the next room, it feels and sounds very much.
It's all the same space for me.
Yeah.
Because that's how I make up any songs.
Yeah.
Is you kind of just go to that place. Although I am really intrigued, and we tried to do this last night, and I got scared.
Uh-oh.
Because we improvised twice last night in the show, and the first time was awesome. I was like, "Wow, great!" I was like, "Cool, this was a great idea." And then the second time, not so much. But it was funny. I stopped, and then Chris later he was like, "I thought it was actually
was
kind of
going great.
going somewhere."
Why
And
did
I
we
was
stop
like,
so
"Oh,
quick?" Yeah.
fuck, I had no idea." But I got scared. But I'm intrigued by that idea of like sort of being in that space, in being in such presence of mind, and like with other people there. Like it's really a test of like how open can you stay
Yeah.
to like just whatever is coming out, because you know, for me, the more I write and the more I sing, I like kind of want to, I feel something bigger moving through me
Yeah.
when I tap into those deeper spaces. And so like, and that happens when you're improvising
Yeah.
and like being unafraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we watched wow, no, Rush. So
were
maybe
watching.
that you could edit out, whatever.
God.
We were watching Reggie Watts the other night, and that really like lit the fire under me. I was like, let's just fucking do it
Yeah.
at one of the shows, and like, cause we do it already at Sound Baths. Let's like bring it into the space, and that's sort of interesting about what we do and what we're kind of discovering together. What we do, you know, because it's like we've been in these groups that have just kind of gotten smaller and smaller, and it's like, wait. So we're kind of discovering what the two of us do, and it's
Yeah.
just really, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Anyway, Reggie Watts is amazing, and we're very inspired by him because he is in that.
Damn.
He's just like improvising
That reminds me of
all the time.
There's this like kind of post-rock duo where there's like one guy on like a guitar bass thing and like drums and stuff called L1011, and I was watching an interview of them, and they were like and they like have a lot of things and loops to play and stuff, kind of in a way that reminds me of like a live Aurora show or something, or you know, like a sound bath or an improvised thing. And they were saying like that's the fun of it for us, is that we're like kind of always on edge, and that the audience doesn't really know if we're gonna pull it off or not. And that's kind of the excitement of it, is that it's like they're rooting for you so hard to do it, but like it could be like a trash fire, and like you don't know what
It
it's
could
It
be
totally
a
could.
catastrophe. Yeah. Trash
It
fire.
totally-
Trash fire. I like that.
Yes, trash.
You guys wouldn't make a trash fire, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I think we're gonna change our duo name
know
to
what?
Trash Fire.
I was gonna also say, Rachel, you were kind of talking about how like it's difficult, not difficult, but like part of it also is that like you have to be present with like other
Yeah.
people that are there, which I'd imagine is a very difficult thing. But I do remember at the panel you kind of talked about Blessed Unrest a bit, and how like there's this sort of like spirit, or not spirit, just some other feeling or something coming through you that you're trying to like express as you're singing or express as you're making music. So I'd imagine trying to tap into that while there are like eyes staring at you is probably difficult as well, but the pillows probably help and the darkness probably helps too.
Well, you have to not, at least for me, I think, you know, it's funny because I love performing for people, and I can perform, like really give that energy. But when I'm writing, I think when it's special is when it's as if I'm alone.
Yeah.
You know, and that I think I've kind of just started doing more in live performances and in just writing my own music, you know, and I kind of well, now that I've been doing that, I think people have just been telling me that is kind of special. Like it is really, I don't know, because at the moment I start thinking about, oh shit, should I be performing for people right now and connecting? And that's when it like,
you're out of it.
That's when I fall out of it. And then I'm like, oh God, I'm overthinking everything I'm doing. And, you know, and it's really, so something, I don't know, it just feels like that's the right, like I could be moving in that direction, which is maybe good. And hopefully people are liking. I don't know what to do with that, like not connecting with other people though. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still figuring out that balance. And it's funny just being an artist and how your like creative spirit leads you like in all these different places, you know?
Completely.
So that's where I am rambling.
Well, no, I think
am.
that leads us nicely into talking about You and Me, which we had discussed that we were gonna kind of go through a little bit, and you know that there is that energy of doing things with people, and but you know this is a song that clearly started like with you, Rachel, doing something on your own. I don't want to assume, but I feel like started there, and I was wondering if you could kind of talk us through like the genesis of the song.
Yeah. So this is a song that I wrote it came to me as I was falling asleep, taking a nap around like 4:00. And like, I think I just heard the whole chorus and I heard that and the chorus and that the whole thing just came. And I was like, oh. And I just like sat up and like rolled over and voice noted it. And then like kind of went back to kind of being in that, just closing my eyes. Because, you know, you kind of, songs come to you in a dream almost. You know, they're like a phantom that like takes, you know, because you hear it later and you're like, what? Like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
got handed to you.
Yeah, it's like this was just out there and I heard it, you know, and so that's really how this song is. And I think it sounds like that too. It sounds like it's out there and you just hear it all of a sudden. Like, so it's just one of those, I don't know, sometimes songs just come very quickly. And this was one that just came, you know, it came as the chorus and that little outro, like turnaround. And then at the moment I sat down to start working on it, I think it was one of those, like when I was like tried to go back to the nap and then like was in that headspace and like hearing more of it and then just got up and like started recording it. And I think the next day I wrote the verses and that thing. And then I was like, oh, all right. And then like the next couple of days added like background vocals to like displace the things. But I like had no idea what the track was. It was just like snaps and like that. And whatever I was singing, I was like, okay, well, that's a song, I guess.
I mean,
But I was like, I don't know how this will like be a thing. I don't know what the rest of it sounds like at all. Like, and this is where Chris comes in.
It's kind of,
Thank the gods.
Oh,
Thank the gods above.
I love getting to splash around with sounds and textures and stuff on anything. And the really neat thing about
You're
this,
good at it.
Well, thanks. That's really sweet of you.
You
This song is, to me, this song is rad because the demo of you doing, before you started recording any parts to it, you made a recording of just you singing the melody and snapping the whole song, and it was like,
Yeah.
well, that's a song. Like, that's a rare song. It'd be difficult to do a whole album of songs that are that sparse, but like, whatever it is about this song works pretty well, just melody and snapping. I love what I
you're
built
so
in there.
sweet.
Don't get me
I
wrong.
love what you built. It's beautiful. It's always beautiful. You add that glitter.
But
You
I-
like make it like starry night. It's beautiful. It's awesome. You know what I'm talking about. You all know what I'm talking about.
Oh Lord.
Was there ever at any point were you considering like should we try to make this bigger and sound like the rest of everything else, or was it just like it was always going to be pretty stripped?
I think it was always quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It always was supposed to be quiet with the I just knew. I mean like it's nice though cuz it really gets to such a beautiful space actually. And you really brought it there with the Aurora version. It's beautiful. It like blossoms in a way, but we had always had it sparse, and I think at one time it was even more sparse than this. But yeah, it just that's how it was supposed to be like that. Shh.
I'm just curious if, like, looking back at it, because obviously it's just something that sort of came to you, but, like, looking back at it, do you feel like you kind of pulled from any inspirations, or there's any, like, things around at that time that might have influenced how you wrote it, or, like, what you were thinking when you were writing it in the process?
Yes, actually. I can see how you got. That was the line that like kind of came to me all of a sudden, and I was like hearing it as a like if Beyonce were Al Green, kind of.
Awesome. That is a great
And that
sentence.
was like as I was like dreaming and I'm like in the nap zone. That was the whole vibe that came. And so that was, I don't know if that makes any sense. But that, I would say that influenced it for sure.
Yeah. And when you, like, went back to continue writing it, were you, like, did you try to, like, tap back into that nap headspace, or were you like, okay, I'm just going to write it all out now?
I think it was just kind of obvious what it was at that when I like
Sort of waiting
was
for you a
fleshing
little
it
bit.
out,
Right.
you know. I think that all just in general, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, that if I work like when the idea comes to me, the fresher the idea is and has been with me, it's better to like work on that momentum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it kind of just fell out quickly and easily. It wasn't a like, oh, I gotta like really work this out. Even lyrics, like kind of just, I get like a weird fever dream. And then
You're not super mathy with your approach.
No.
You're not like, I have to
No.
like solve this puzzle and make it symmetrical and stuff.
yeah,
I feel
no,
like
Ben
you're
and
just,
I
like,
are just like, what's
intuitive.
yeah.
So did the lyrics come fairly quickly then, I guess, like with the whole...
Yeah, because I kind of do I kind of will like sing the melodies that are coming, and sometimes the words just come. Like with this chorus in particular, it just kind of like I think I knew. How I can see how you got. You know, so it's like little vowels are kind of
Right,
coming to me, and you just kind of shape words around the vowels. At least for me, that's what I do because I want the line to feel the most natural way that I'm singing it already with no words. So how can I like sculpt words around that? But usually that kind of becomes apparent quickly, which makes me realize that it's like not my song. It's like a song that's revealing itself to me, you know? So like kind of just spending time with it, you like kind of, it just reveals itself to you.
Right.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
That's the best.
You know? But yeah, so the words just kind of came too. Chris revised one line because I had
Which line?
it's been such a long time. Now you're mine. I want to unwind with you. And what's the last? Oh, make me a paradise. And then Chris thought I had said come in the light, and I was like, I kind of had said paradise coming to life, like it's like coming alive. I don't know. Like I was kind of futzing with that line, and he was like, "Oh, I thought you said come in the light," and I was like, "Yep, that's what I said." Awesome, that was it, and it just like, mwah, it was perfect. And Chris, you're great with lyrics. You're like a total wordsmith. So
Oh, thanks.
I kind of will have him like come along and like dust up my I've like made a crazy mess, and he'll like kind of make it actually look beautiful and pretty.
Yeah.
He's like a makeup artist.
Very sweet.
So
Just
as
the
you
Jonathan Van Ness of sound.
I want to put it on record. I want to be known as the Jonathan Van Ness of acapella. You can help me make that happen.
I'll plaster that across the episode.
Just-
staff.
That Chiron me that. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, like you guys were mentioning, and as you have heard in the bits of the demo that we played thus far, it hasn't it didn't change so drastically from that original kind of idea to what it was, but there's a few things that did shift along the way.
Yeah.
Noticeably, when we opened up the GarageBand file of the demo,
Yes.
it was a key lower.
Yeah,
Did-
I noticed that today.
yeah.
I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh, it's lower. Oh, cool.
So was that like just like, oh, I forgot what key it was and we did it, or you just
I don't remember. I don't recall why
I think you.
that's the case.
I don't remember super specifically or accurately, but I feel like you wrote it, and then when you started to kind of perform it on your own, just kind of run it like on a looper and stuff, you wouldn't check a key first. You would just kind of do it. And so I think once we started
That
playing
sounds accurate.
it, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like, why would you like run to the piano and be like, let me make sure? You just start singing it. And then when we started working it out with you and me, you and me, the two of us together playing your song called You and Me, and I had a guitar in my lap.
Yeah.
And was playing along with you, I think we probably just settled into this key. And so when it came time to record it as an Aurora version, that was the key. Whatever key we had been playing it together in is probably where we set it without checking on that original. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think, sometimes it also, that GarageBand is very, like, that's super fresh. So I think, also the more you sing a song, you kind of feel where it probably feels more comfortable in your voice. And I'm sure that's what happened. Yeah. I'm sure the demo, I'm like between keys, because I usually, something will come to me and I like don't have stuff. I'm like, whatever, I'm not going to play something. I'm just going to sing it. And I'm usually between keys. I'm like a quarter tone, like sharp of some key.
A440 is an artificial construct.
I
There's
know.
nothing wrong with it.
It's fine.
we know that life, Rachel.
Do that often.
Yeah.
But it was fun, kind of like when we were doing this EP, people were like, okay, well, we all have to like put a song on and whatever. And we were being asked to come to So Jam, and they were like, can you like finish some music? And we were like, okay, yeah. if you pay, but basically everyone was like, you guys, we want more music, and we're like, we can't, like, it takes time and effort to do that when we want to, but like we don't make any money from doing that.
Yeah.
And so we can't, like, because we have houses or rent or what, it's like, and we love you and we love us, but we don't know. So, when and Dio really made it happen. And
He's such a magical man.
This whole wonderful family that loves our music. We're really blessed. And they brought us out there, which enabled us to give us time to work on music, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was a loving fire under our asses.
It was really great. And I kind of had this one, and we had like fleshed it out, and it just kind of seemed like the right song for us. And it was cool just figuring it out. If I remember, we were doing it, and I was like, oh, shit. oh no, I don't know if this is going to be good, which is what always happens.
Well, yeah.
Right, you bring your song in and you kind of like it and you're like, "Oh, this is my song and I think it's good." And then you bring it in and we all sing it and you're like, "This song sucks. This is the worst song that's ever been written," just like you knew.
Yeah.
You knew it was bad.
As a rule in our band, everybody brings in their song, hears everyone else's song, thinks everyone else's songs are amazing, and thinks their own song is garbage, and insists that that's the case multiple times while listening to their demo in front of everyone. Like, we all just shit on ourselves and, like, love on each other, which I don't know if that's codependent. I don't know what that is, but it's not healthy, but it's what it is.
Anywho, yes.
So just backtracking a little bit. So once you
Go.
presented your song and everyone loved it and you said, "I hate this," but you still wanted to do it. What were like the next steps for like filling in the pieces, so to speak? Because I know you were talking about how like it was kind of meant to be more back and more sparse, but obviously there are a lot of new elements in it in comparison to the original. So like, where did you start to like add things, and where did the background pieces start to come from?
The backgrounds, the backgrounds with vocals, those came at the same time when I was writing the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
But like any of the like
The lady lift.
all those lady parts that are the lady parts, yes. Those we just sort of figured out because we had to do it live. I was like, well, I can't just stand there. Like, what are they
We
just
can't
going
have four
to
people
stand there on
snapping and
stage?
Rachel
Like,
singing
this
and
is so
snapping.
annoying.
Yeah.
And then, and I'd done it with Chris, but just like with a guitar and me snapping in front of people. So I was like, well, what the fuck is this song right now? Like, how are we going to perform this for people and like flesh it out? And I knew that it just needed to still be very sparse. Mm-hmm. Like, it just needed to be, nothing flashy can be happening. It's nothing special. It's supposed to be really delicate and quiet. So then I came up with these parts and I was like, sorry, girls. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not going to be interesting.
You're gonna go,
at all. At all. Oh, God. I felt so bad. But, like, that's sort of what it needs to be, And I think it works. I think it works in a very... Yeah. And they're able to sing it with such delicacy. Like, they really go to that space. And that's what's so precious and beautiful about Aurora.
I can see what we got is treasure. Baby, it's you.
At first, when we were all singing it, I got really scared. I was like, oh no. And then we were at So Jam and we sound checked and I was like, oh God. And I was having, you guys, this is why I didn't remember meeting you at So Jam. Because I was having a crazy panic attack at that show. And like at the end of it, like, this is why I did not remember. So
I don't know how much of So Jam you remember.
Oh my God, yeah.
Definitely like,
it was really an intense day.
Breaths. Yeah.
I realized I didn't take care of myself at all, which is what led to that. But anywho, but I remember we did the sound check and Tony Huerta came up and he was like, because I guess he saw that I was like distressed and like, fuck, we can't do this. Oh God, what's happening? And he walked up and he was like, you're going to do that song, right? Oh. And I was like, oh. And he was like, you have to do that song. You have to do it. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, we'll do it. And he was like, you have to.
I think
was like, okay.
He's seen the
It'll
face.
be fine.
He's seen that face at many a sound check. The face of, we're cutting that song, guys. And
sure.
So I'm sure he intervened very deliberately.
And may I say too,
and then they just
like
nailed
it was a special moment, I think, within the show. And then like I think both on the recorded track and live, I think it's totally what you're talking about of like it's a very exposed thing at the start and you're like and like you kind of like sit back and you're like, this is different. but I think I like it. And then like I feel like that part that you're talking about, the thing, we both sing
Yeah.
tunelessly.
That was beautiful.
I
Beautiful
love it.
unison.
It was
Very
nice.
good. Octave rather. Yeah.
But that comes in, and then you're like, oh, it's Aurora is the band that I'm listening to, and like it's kind of a like almost a secondary hook to me of like the song of like I think of the chorus and then that as like the main thing underneath.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask also, we were kind of like looking through all the different stems, and for the lady lifts as they're labeled in this project.
That's what I called them when I made
Yeah?
them. Sorry,
Oh,
I didn't get your
cute.
blessing first.
Okay.
The lady lifts.
Lady lifts.
Sorry to put you
Cute.
on
Oh my
blast,
God.
Chris.
Cute.
No, everyone knows the secret. So for those, there's 2 tracks, one that's dry and one that has reverb. So when you like play them side by side, there's a lot of like space that they fill up, which is really cool. So I'm just curious, like in terms of like the sonic soundscape for this song, did you have like any particular vision, or were you just kind of keeping it in the Aurora vein, so to speak, whatever that might be?
Well, we all give our songs to Chris, and then he does what he does. You know that. Yeah.
I definitely I don't think I like save too much of a specific set of. There isn't like an Aurora color wheel of sound that my brain will pull out when I'm producing Aurora stuff. I basically just do exactly what I would want to do instead of trying to tailor what I would want to do towards what a client wants if someone has hired me to do something.
Right.
Yeah.
When we're doing it, people hand me their songs and I listen to them and I go, oh my God, what if this was like dripping with like a tap tempo delay that was like this, but then like kind of.
But this
and
is
I just
also
start doing it. And
this is
everyone's really
also
receptive.
what he does this is your sound world. This is how you sound, Chris, because this is what you other clients that you work with, like other albums that you produce, they have this same atmosphere. They totally do. Like Avi's record, Dan's record,
Sure.
Morton's record. They all have that glittery like nightscape. They all do that. I'm telling you, you guys. Anyway,
Well,
you
thanks.
totally you're the reason we sound like we do. You
I
know?
think I'm one of the reasons that part of our sound is the way it is. I think step one, anytime I've ever gotten a compliment on an Aurora recording, and I'm asked like, how do you get it to feel so like organic and live, whatever, like all my favorite adjectives of someone else, I'd be like, oh yeah, step one is get Rachel, Jess, and Kathy to be in your band. That's a really big part of it. Then get Ben McLean to do percussive sounds because they're ridiculous and amazing, and then push buttons.
Well, I think that brings up an interesting point of there's no real VP beatboxing in the way of this song, which is an interesting like characteristic sonic element of Aurora to take out, and it's just those snaps. What just out of my curiosity, like how many times did you sit in front of the mic and hit the snaps before you hit copy and paste, or did you snap out the whole song?
We don't fly our snaps. All of our snaps are
Oh, dude.
are farm to table.
We don't care about that at all. No.
I don't remember. Do you remember?
I don't remember. No.
Probably 4 or 8 bars worth. Or
Yeah.
something. But then a lot of that to get, if you quantize
Yeah, you
snaps,
make like a bunch of them
they sound like
together,
one
so
snap. Yeah.
they're exactly.
So I think we probably loop recorded 4 bars or
Yeah,
something.
I think
and
we
then left
did
it as natural as
I think it
possible.
was 8 bars or something, and then
Yeah.
we doubled it or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's quadruple it, and I was like, wait, no.
A mob of snaps.
We're
kidding,
kind of like
sorry.
jumping all over the place as we like
No,
dissect
don't
your
jump.
song, but we are also listening to the bass that's Chris and Ben, which is the semi-higher bass line in there, and then Evan noticed that there's kind of like a tremolo sort of situation
That
where
was
there's
my
like
guess.
Yeah.
like
Yes,
a rhythm in
you
there.
nailed it.
So was there a thought behind that in terms of like placing it right in the chorus, or?
That was just the thing I opted to do.
It was
that,
great.
That didn't get vetoed.
He
Rachel didn't
just
hear
did it,
and go,
and I
"No!"
was like, no, that's cool. I think you
Yeah.
had it coming in a little bit early, and I was
I
like,
did.
wait, it shouldn't come in yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I liked it. I was like, ooh, cool.
In fact, it
because I was sort of like, well, this is an Aurora song now. We're doing this with Aurora, so it should just be Aurora.
Yeah.
So I just kind of let you do whatever you want. Basically, I was like, great, that sounds cool. Let's do it.
I can't remember. It might be that in the demo, the when the bass first comes in, it's doing that tremolo kind of.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, and then I think for the final version we changed it to where it was way more sparse and it was just doing tone, tone, tone. Yeah.
Maybe it's you and me together. Honey, I do believe.
I love any kind of like sonic flickering, anything that seems just kind of like a little, tremolo. Like any and every variation of tremolo is like one of my favorite things to do to a sound in most situations.
Well, it's nice how it gives it like a rhythm. It gives it a sense of rhythm and movement. There's, and it's nice because when I first heard this song, it was supposed to feel very like groovy, kind of. Not groove is the wrong word, but like groovy baby is right, but not like groove. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It should feel like you're chilling out. Mm-hmm. So it works really nicely, I think, with the snaps that other kind of tremolo is there.
Well, the first line of the melody it's not a straight rhythm. It's like it's kind of a sexy syncopated
It's Beyonce Al Green.
Beyonce Al Green.
Like
Beyonce
I said,
Green.
Beyonce Green.
There you go.
So then there's one more bass sound in here. Like we're just listening to it, like even just on laptop speakers, and like we heard like other notes in there, kind of. Is that bleed or is that like intentional harmonics? Because it sounds like it didn't sound like bleed to me, but like I don't know, maybe it was.
Sounded like there's harmonics in there. I don't know if that's just aftermath.
I mean, I'm sure I like tuned the hell out of those low notes. Those aren't comfortable for anyone I know except Avi to sing, so I'm sure I tuned the holy hell out of it. And sometimes that results in kind of, at least in my like weird whisper bass approach to singing low notes, sometimes I've noticed that does like it'll like push a harmonic that maybe was there a little bit, but it'll like really kind of make it ring or something because I'm straightening an otherwise not straight note, straight tone. So I'm not
do you remember doing any? Sometimes you do this thing though where you like will find the frequencies and the like notes of a chord of some people, and then you'll like push. Those
maybe
frequencies. So maybe you do that, but I feel like you don't do that to bass as much as like
mid
girls.
textury things. Yeah, the what?
Lady girls.
Lady girls. Lady lips.
That was what came to my mind. It was like
Sometimes I'll notch boost. I'll put inside baseball. I'll get a parametric EQ and I'll create a notch and a very very narrow EQ notch and gain it up like 12 dB or something so that certain frequencies kind of glow. If anything, like as you sing a melody or whatever sound moves across that track, any time, it's like when you sing at a guitar, if you like glissando real loud at a guitar, the open strings will ring.
Yeah.
It'll create that kind of that effect to the notes that I've notched up real hard.
Cool, Chris.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really cool.
That was, if anyone just
Can you
fell
tell
asleep.
us some more about your sound knowledge about the sonics and stuff?
Do you see how I get bullied? Do you see? What?
Speaking of which, there was another part where we're like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. How did you make it sound like that? There's Rachel Ghost chimes in here. I love all the names.
Oh my God, yes. Ghost chimes, yeah.
It's like little rain droplets. It's beautiful.
Little Rachel droplet.
Droplets. What I like about all these too is that once we listened to them individually and then played the entire track back, we're like, oh, like you don't really realize what's happening in a cool way. You can't like pick everything out. It just kind of fills the space really nicely, which is cool to like hear them individually and then to see what the individual ideas are. But once you kind of throw them all together, it's just a sound bath, which is really cool.
Especially with this one because you think you know what all the elements are and then you don't, which is a fun little discovery.
Well, there again, there's the magic of Chris. You think you know everything that's going on and you really have no idea the intricate like level of detail he goes to like make something just magical and beautiful.
Yeah.
Like he took that song and made it so beautiful, I think.
Thanks, babe.
You know, yeah, dude.
One of my favorite things to do with sound is like
You know, like sound.
Sounds and stuff. That's like cool. Anyway, no. When you I wish I could think of a specific accurate example, but if you're in nature, if you're like in the woods or something, or if you're looking at a body of water and you're like and it's nighttime and you're like, I can't tell if that's a reflection of that thing and it's rippling in the water, or if that's something under the water, but that just there's like a shimmer, and my brain can't quite decide if this is happening or that is happening, but either way it's pretty and mysterious. That anytime I can pull that off with like combinations of elements and a sound, that's like my favorite thing.
Yeah,
exactly
we want to know
described.
how you do that.
They have all the pieces.
Like,
they
cool.
said
We hear that you're doing it. We get it. We like it. How do we do it? How do you do it?
I don't know. Step one,
Just
get Rachel, Jess, and Kathy to be in your band.
No, step two, be a hella nerd that like lives inside a computer for hours.
Yeah.
Like,
So
Rachel,
for the
ghost chimes?
Yeah. For
come
example,
on,
like,
exactly.
What was like the original like input that Rachel sung, and like how did you get it to
I think
sound
it's
like
that
watery ghost chimes under
I
a
think
river?
you either.
And I love someone,
Yeah, I think it's
love
probably you.
someone.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
probably
it
you
is.
singing "Love Someone" and "Love Someone," so singing each one of those things. And then I'm sure I like scooped the entire high end, like the.
Here we go.
Yeah, sorry. Back
Oh my
in,
God,
back
yes,
into,
I love it.
Back
Go.
into EQ talk.
You scoop the high.
You if you get rid of all of
You
the.
flip them up. Scoop them
You
high.
get rid of everything like somewhere above like 500 or 1,000 or something, like all the character goes away so that you can't hear words anymore, and it just sounds like you're hearing someone sing through a wall. Yeah, like a
singing through a wall. Yes.
muffled kind of sound. So yeah, I
hear
did
that.
that, like scooped off the top so that you can't hear that you're saying "love someone" and you just hear the tones. And then the next thing I probably did is like throw them through a reverb with a mix all the way up, and then like just sort of like layers and layers of treating stuff and intuiting my way as I go along. Like I'll put that reverb on and then I'll listen and go, oh, you know what you should do now is whatever, and it ends up after 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 steps like that, it'll end up sounding like something like that, and then I give it a cute name like, what are it, Ghost Chimes?
Rachel Ghost Chimes, yeah.
Rachel Ghost Chimes, yeah.
Just making cute sounds.
Just-
Just making sounds.
Just doing things. And
Sound
stuff.
Factory.
Yeah.
Chris Harrison Sound Factory.
Yeah, just layers of processing and not necessarily having having a feeling in mind, but not having a finished sound in mind, and just sort of like going in that direction until I'm like, this is great.
Right.
I hope Rachel likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I hear from the other room, and I'm like yelling, like, what the That's so good. Like, what are you doing in there?
Keeps me
like,
going,
I love though when I like, because you can feel when another person is excited on what they're working on, and I can feel it all the way from the other side of the house. Like, I like feel the energy shift, and like a level of like just into itness that's happening, and I'm like, and then I just listen, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. It sounds so good. And then I'll like come in here and be like, you idiot, it sounds so good. Why are you doing this all the time?
Well, seeing you two like talk about it, I think it's an interesting, the last like big change from the original GarageBand demo to the final version is that kind of bridge outro got expanded a lot. Over originally it was a lot shorter, and you know that lyric just like repeats a bunch. And just wondering if you could talk through the process of that and kind of like just because I think it's the thing that closes the song, just like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to make any assumptions or anything, but it's just like seeing you two interact. You can like feel like what this song is about, like through that like the
Sure.
mantra thing at the end.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, dude, you're totally my muse.
Oh,
It's true.
bless you.
You totally are. I
Sweet.
think every song I've written has been like about or for you. To be like,
You do
everything's
run and hide
fine.
under something right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it's
Oh,
just very,
I'm
very
sorry.
sweet. and I
I'm
feel
sorry. I don't
very,
mean to make you uncomfortable.
very bashful.
We just love you.
well,
Accept our love. Okay.
okay.
Okay, so no, so the reason that is so much shorter in the demo is actually because, like, I was kind of doing it and then I was like, yeah, okay, and then that happens at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of got to the end and I was like, okay, well, so we'll do that for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was like laziness. So then once we we got to like, okay, what is that? I think we kind of figured that out live, actually.
The number of
Yeah,
iterations
the number
or
of
how it was gonna go?
iterations.
Yeah. I think by the time we were running it a while,
Yeah.
like multiple times, 4 felt right. And those echoes are cool, and how the
Yeah.
lady echoes like change a little bit each time, like ba 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 versus da 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 da. Yeah, just kind of shaped out nicely. Just like felt right.
Yeah, and I think it's super interesting to hear all this.
Yeah, so we just have a couple questions to wrap things up for each of our guests. And Chris, you've probably answered these before, but you maybe have new answers for them. But the first question is, what things in the a cappella sphere or just music sphere are exciting you right now? What sort of trends are you liking that you're seeing?
I just love Janelle Monáe. I worship her, even though I know it's like I just ran it into the ground, but I still I listen to that album on repeat.
Sure.
And I know that it's actually kind of old now. I mean, it's not old, but it's like it's been out for a while.
With today's
but
turnover,
I still talk
yeah.
to people, and they're like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, I clearly shouldn't stop listening to it or pumping it out of my speakers. Apparently, since you guys don't know what it is. Anyway, so Janelle Monáe, oh my god, I love you. Kathy was playing SZA the other day,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, "This is kind of cool." I was like, "This is so cool," and like, so I haven't like listened to that yet, but I was like, "Ooh," like my ears pricked up. I was like, "That sounds kind of like I want to play in that room. That sounds nice."
Yeah. For being for being professional musicians, we a little bit live under a rock sometimes with
Well, because you start getting hired to do stuff, which is great, and but then you're like, oh, the only thing I'm hearing is like, that's all, guys. Like, I can't wait to, I don't know, like just
whatever the session demands of
Yeah.
you. Well, and
But
you can
can't wait for it. Like weird, crazy jingles, So like you kind of just start hearing the stuff you're working on, which is like very strange. For me,
Yeah.
it's always cartoon based.
right.
And so then so that's really fun. But as far as like, what am I listening to? I hope it's not lame. Those weren't.
no, I think
hope
those are
weren't like lame.
I think
like,
those are both great. It just
suggestions.
occurred to me that I have no scope of what is a frequently listened to thing and what isn't. And I think you're more in tune with like new music than I am these days.
I like that a lot of songs are like kind of vibey more, which is kind of cool. I dig that.
And then the last question is what you guys have on the plate and what you're working on that you care or can talk about. Can talk about.
If I may.
Go.
So Rach and I are working on an EP of our own music.
Wow.
Sorry.
You hate it. You hate
I
it.
turned into an
You're
old
mad.
prospector. I'm
you
sorry.
sound mad. You're mad and you hate it.
We're just writing more songs.
I love
like-
to hear that.
We're just writing
Oh
more
yay!
songs.
Well, one of the things that is very nearly finished is a song called "You and Me," incidentally, but it has instrumental elements as well as the vocals that are in there. Another one is a song called "Midnight Sun" that we started writing last year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
And Follow the Light.
I Follow the Light.
There's a bunch of other ones. It's
Yeah.
just exciting. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh, there's like all these songs.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, wait, Chris, I have so many songs.
Yeah.
We have so many songs. We have to get them out there. got to.
Co-writing is a weird, I think is a really weird endeavor for anybody, and there's no one way to do it. It seems, and I don't think I know any people who co-write exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And Rachel and I have sort of gone back and forth in trying to find a rhythm or like a method to write together. I'm definitely an introvert, and so I tend to like go hide in this room and close the door and work for 3, 4, 5 hours on something, and then show it to someone and go, here's most of everything that I'm going to do on this. I hope you like it. And Rachel gets into her own kind of similar zone. I think when you're by yourself and you're just
Yep.
either on a looper or in GarageBand or whatever, like, and you come out and go, hey, so I made a thing. I don't know if you think it sucks, and I hear it and it's amazing and it's done.
Oh, you're sweet.
So I think we kind of finally figured out a lot of the time our co-writing rhythm is like, I'll render a complete song in track form, or like almost complete song in track form, and be like, I don't know what this will be, and she'll come back and like build
I'll be like, is this the song?
yeah, an entire like
This is the song.
head and face and voice, and like you turn it into a song. You like turn it from like a robot into like a human.
It works together so well.
It's
I'm
really
very
rad.
grateful.
Yeah. So
'Cause
we
then
finally
I'll also bring him like, okay, this needs bones, but it is the thing. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
It is a thing.
It has a face. It doesn't have a body. It has part of a
Like,
body. It has
like,
muscles. It
kind
has
of
some
just
muscles,
needs-
no bones.
Yeah, exactly.
And no
This
organs.
is like just a skeleton.
Yeah.
Can you make it a human?
So we're trying to we're trying to like bounce things back and forth
Yeah.
that
And
way.
actually, a lot of our work, our professional work, has helped our rhythm of writing
Yeah.
as well. Because we've kind of been arranging and like, doing vocals for other people, and like that's really helped. Like when we then write and then come back together, and then we can like really work well together. You would think that would have happened in Aurora, but it's so different because of the dynamic of 5 people as opposed to just 2. So it's just interesting, kind of syncing up, and it's great. And so we're working on music, which is awesome. And we also want to get some more. We're like looking for a place to do some more sound baths. We're like looking for a new space.
scouting locations.
So we're
here.
like scouting
There
locations.
are many places here.
Okay, we absolutely will.
I
Like
mean,
if
this
you
would
have
be
a spot in mind.
This
I'm
would
sure
definitely be
there
a
are so many
thing that
people
we
who
could
would love
travel
that.
with.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, hell yeah.
Well, as I was like, what's the final question? I felt like my jaw hurting, I think, from just smiling this whole
Yeah,
episode.
me
So thank you both for coming on. It's such a joy to talk to you. We will make sure to keep our ears peeled for that new EP.
Yes.
And we hope
Yeah.
that you join us next week for a new episode of Head Voice.
Thank you both so much.
Oh, thank you
Thank
guys,
you
so
guys
much.
so much.
Love you.
Been such a long time. Now you're mine. I wanna unwind with you, boy. Make me a paradise. Come in the light. I wanna unwind with you, boy. With you, boy. With you, boy. With you. 'Cause baby, it's you and me together. Honey, I do believe forever. Honey, I can see what we got is treasure. Baby, it's you and me together. I give myself to you, give you to me. I wanna spend the night with you, boy. It's like our love is new. Our love is free. I wanna spend my life with you, boy, boy, with you, boy, with you, boy, with you. 'Cause baby, it's you and me together. Honey, I do believe forever. Honey, I can see what we got is treasure. Baby, it's you and me together. And he loves his wife. I love someone. And he loves his wife. I love someone. And he loves his wife. I love someone. And he loves his wife.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. The song you just heard is, of course, You and Me, and the song you are now hearing is Morning Light off of Aurora's album Bioluminescence. Kayla just did your first little editing work on an episode.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Honestly, it was super enjoyable, and I couldn't stop smiling the whole time
Yeah,
as I was
genuinely.
listening to it. And I was also by myself. As I was editing and just kind of laughing out loud and everything.
It's a fun look inside your own personal mania, and we get to expose all of our tics and everything. Yeah, that was an amazing episode. They're just inspiring and fun people. And speaking of fun people, next week we will be having Voice Play on. A few of the members of Voice Play for a spooky episode. And that'll be fun. And then they'll be at SoJam that weekend. And
Yeah.
we will also be there teaching
Which
a
is
class.
coming up soon.
Yeah. What are we teaching?
We're teaching a looping class, and we're also doing a panel featuring some lovely humans. And we're super excited.
Yeah. I think I'm really looking forward to that. Anthony and Kayla and I are all driving down with friend of the show, Justin Critchfield. So if you're at the festival, please do say hi. If you have a minute to rate and review us on iTunes, follow us on Spotify, or rate us on whatever client you use to listen, that's a huge help to us and helps more people see the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. And
See you on Halloween.
yeah, we'll come to your houses on Halloween.
Morning light, morning